Great. You mentioned that it takes about 5 visits to a site before a consumer makes a sale. What are some industry sites, blogs, or forums that you typically will go to keep up on the ever-changing analytics scene? Because it seems like every day someone's adding a new tool or adding a new feature to an existing tool.
Right, that's a great question. There are some analytics-specific websites out there, but they tend to be really deep. What I think is the best way to get sort of a broad picture of analytics is to look at some of the direct marketing stuff, like, for example, SEO Moz, Search Engine Watch, things like that. As I've mentioned earlier, most of the people who are in the e-commerce industry are very concerned with direct marketing because they know that the smallest change can mean millions of dollars difference. So I like to look at the e-commerce industry and the stuff that they're reading because I think it gives you a holistic picture of marketing, of which analytics is a portion of that, but it really helps you to see it in the context of the bigger picture and what's going to drive your sales. So those are probably some of the key places I would go to.
Great, thank you. Now, we seem to be living in an era where there seems to be a convention or a seminar or trainings for everything. Have you attended any search-related conferences, and would you recommend to an SEO professional or analytics professional to attend some of the conferences that are out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. As you may know, I go to over 20 conferences a year, and I speak at most of these. And so in the conferences that I've gone to, I would say there definitely is a lot of value for people, whether they're in the analytics field or just internet marketing, to attend some of these conferences where you have the opportunity to connect and learn from some of the brightest minds in the industry. Now, I think when people go to conferences, that's a little bit different than a training workshop. So with Bootcamp Digital, we actually offer training workshops, and a training seminar is typically a longer format, and it's actually educational in nature, and it's intended to walk someone through from start to finish, how do you do something? So if you're completely new to analytics and you're trying to figure out how to do it, you would want to find something that's more training or workshop based versus going to a conference. Now, if you are in the industry and you're looking to bring your game to a new level and really step it up and learn more, learn best practices, that's what you go to a conference for. And so some of the conferences that I attend in the internet marketing space that I find to be the most valuable are Search Engine Strategies, which is put on by Incisive Media. I actually just came back from speaking there in San Francisco. PubCon is another great one. PubCon happens twice a year. Their upcoming show is in Las Vegas in November, and I'll be speaking there on a number of panels as well. And those are probably two of the best conferences that I attend in the performance marketing space.
Great. And the final question, do you have any advice for someone entering the SEO and analytics field as far as maybe what they should focus on and kind of what kind of thinking that they need to have to be successful in their new position?
Yeah, there's probably two things that are key. One is analytics, as the role would imply. But what are your analytical skills, and how can you come up with creative ways to measure, track, and analyze things to really get results? And that's probably one of the most important skills in both SEO as well as obviously analytics. But what are creative ways that you can think of to measure something, and how do you quantify some of these things? And this is really true in search also. A lot of people will optimize their sites for keywords, for example, just by coming up with keywords off the top of their heads. That's probably not going to get you the best results. Strategic analysis by looking at, number of sites already optimized for those words, number of searches for those words, things like that, using keyword tools. That's going to get you better results than just approaching it in a haphazard way. So the first one is really honing and refining your analytics skills and approaching everything you do in a quantitative and analytical manner. So how do I prove that these are the right keywords? And what's the criteria for what makes a good keyword? And using an analytical approach. And so obviously the same is true with analytics. How do I quantify where a sale came from? How can I creatively look at different ways to measure this stuff? And then the second part that I think is important is really knowing and leveraging the right tools out there. There are so many different tools for both analytics as well as SEO. I can't even tell you how many different keyword or backlink tools, things like that there are. And so I think understanding what are the best industry standards in terms of tools, what is their functionality, and figuring out the ones that are going to get you the best results, that's probably the other side of where the opportunity lies. So the two would be analytical skills and then knowing the tools.
All right. Well, great, Krista. Thanks for taking time out of your busy conference visiting schedule and your busy work with Bootcamp Digital Trainings for to sit down and have this conversation with me. Do you have any last thoughts to add?
No, I really think analytics is definitely an emerging field. It's one of the most important ones as brands are increasingly look to measure the ROI that they're getting from the web. And it is complex. It's not simple. And so to deal with these complex metrics, I think we need to up our analytic game and, even do some more traditional metrics like awareness studies and things like that to really understand the impact that marketing activities are having online versus focusing solely on the quantitative clicks. And I think that's the big game changer that we're going to start to see in analytics is moving away a little bit from click-based metrics and moving more to something that's more holistic and includes all the multiple touch points that are driving sales.
All right. Well, thank you and have a great night.
Thanks. You too.